Everybody for coming. Long week. We saw a budget come out yesterday. My caucus was brought up to speed on the budget from 11 to 12 yesterday. We finished at noon, and within 3 hours the budget was being announced by the governor. So prior to that point, we had seen some bills, we'd heard some numbers, but it was the first time we actually got to see the spreadsheets. We were not given copies of the spreadsheets because we were told that the numbers were still fluid. But that was the first opportunity that we had to see any of the budget and what it looked like. So any comments yesterday during the press conference by the governor that regarding open and transparency, I would take respectful issue with. I don't believe that a 2.5 hour to 3 hour notice of a statewide budget that's going to be billions and billions of dollars is satisfactory for open and transparency. I think that we were grateful to Appropriations Chair and to the co-chair, but I think we need to work on the process. So with that being said, open it up for questions. I have Senator Kirt, Senator Brooks, and Senator Dossett JJ here with me. So between the four of us, I think we'll try to get you some answers.
I guess I'll start. The tax cuts in the budget, how do y'all feel about those?
I think we've learned in the past that these knee-jerk tax cuts are not the best interest of the state. We get one-time monies. The budget is in good shape, and admittedly so, I think, by even the Republicans from the CARES money, the recovery money we got last year. It really helped take up a lot of slack. We're getting more money this year from the new administration, from the Biden administration. And so it just seems that tax cuts are just a bad idea right now. The corporate tax, despite what you hear from some proponents, I'm not seeing any research that indicates that cutting the corporate income tax is going to increase business in the state of Oklahoma. What we know from our research and from what experts tell us is what draws business into the state is a solid education system. Businesses do not want to come into a state and then tell their employees that they're going to have to send their kids to substandard schools. So on the list of things that business looks for when they're moving into the state, corporate income tax, my understanding, is not even in the top 5. Julia's on, Senator Kurt's on finance. I'd be interested in getting it.
Well, I'm concerned we just 3 years ago, we're facing revenue failure, and of course all the pain that was gone through to get the funding in place that was needed for public education, and to just 3 years later be revisiting reducing that revenue. And we really have a lot of short-term fluctuation. We don't know what's going to happen out of the pandemic. The economy has had kind of a short-term boost. We don't know if that's going to last. Even the economists say they don't know. So how would we make a decision based on very short-term information about our economy recovering that's going to impact us for years to come in terms of what our state's able to provide to our citizens? So I'm deeply concerned about that.
Sitting in the Senate JCAB meeting, as you all discussed, the 5-year requirement for out-of-state residents to get on the ISD waiver list. You all definitely seem to have some opposition or some concerns about that. Can you elaborate?
I'm definitely going to let Senator Kirt visit with you all about that, because this is something that she has lived and is very knowledgeable about. So, Senator Kirt.
Yeah, so I'm the co-chair. We have a bipartisan, bicameral caucus that focuses on the wait list and trying to serve the families on the wait list. I've been concerned with them using the language of eliminating the wait list. We've asked them if that means everyone will be served or if there'll be increased slots available. That's not been a clear answer, and we've been working for years on this and listening to families about their concerns, hearing from our constituents. All of us have heard from constituents who have loved ones that need extra help and care. It's our obligation as a state to provide better services. Right now, people are waiting 12 to 13 years. This bill will not solve that problem. This bill is just going to reduce the number of people that are added to the wait list, but that doesn't mean it's going to be serving more people. So I have real concerns about it looking like the wait list is getting smaller when we're not actually serving people. And when you look at the numbers of who's been served, we've been serving about the same number of people for the last 10 years despite infusing more money into it. So if there's a problem, that's the problem we should be looking at. We should be looking there first. The other question is data. They keep saying that they can't give us information about who's being served and who's rolling off the wait list through attrition or passing away or moving away. And that data will come with this when this assessment's done. Why would we make a change like this now when we don't even have information about who's being served? We can't look at historic data. I've said, okay, so if people die or move away, is that money staying in the system? We don't even know that. So to me, those are fundamental questions that should be answered before we're doing what's probably discriminatory actions against people getting on the wait list.
Keep rolling, I guess, unless Barbara checks in.
Barbara will jump in if she wants to.
I'm wondering about Senate Bill 131 and the managed care, and if the caucus has a thought on whether you want that bill to be taken up, and if you're in agreement, like for third-party managed care or not third-party managed care.
So I think we've been clear from the very beginning that part of this has been about process. And the state question passed. It was a narrow margin. We had a lot of people that were for it. We had a lot of Oklahomans that were against it. And rather than bring the legislature into the discussion, because we do represent, between the House and the Senate, every single person in the state, instead of bringing us into the conversation and discussing what we can do for the 51 who wanted it and the 49 who didn't, the governor moves forward with these RFPs and pushing for managed care without any consultants. So we've had problems with the process from the very beginning, and frankly, my constituents have problems with the process. So that being said, what we've done is, once the session started, we have listened to all sides of the story. We've listened to anyone who wanted to come talk to us, and we've had a lot of groups. We've had managed care groups, we've had the 4 companies that received the contracts, we've had Healthcare Authority, we've had everyone that you can think of, the hospital associations. And basically, we're just still gathering data because we don't know what it's going to look like. And we're being asked to make decisions without data, and these are decisions that are going to affect every single person in the state. So the contracts are out there. I understand there's a lot of proprietary concerns, but we'd like to know basically what the reimbursement rates are going to be. And are they going to be uniform or not? And we're hearing from some of the healthcare providers that are getting these contracts that the reimbursement rates are all over the place. So until we can get some solid answers and some solid information, my caucus is not going to commit to anything except continue to do what we are, and that's our due diligence.
I think that's most of my questions.
Barbara, do you have anything?
No, I think I'm good. Yeah, I think I'm good. Thank you.
Thanks for being on.
I'm just curious, process-wise, have you heard, are they going to roll out the general appropriations bill on Monday or in JCAB, or no idea?
Oh, you're about to see me get wound up.
Okay.
because the open and transparent mantra that we hear constantly up here has just been a train wreck. I mean, yesterday we find out the budget for the very first time, as I said, around noon, and then the next thing we hear, the governor's in a press conference at 3:30 announcing a deal's been made. We're told that it's been open and transparent and everybody's been at the table, which has not been our experience. We're waiting on JCAB information yesterday. Are we going to have it yesterday afternoon or are we not? We don't find that out till late afternoon. And then we get the bills for JCAB that was scheduled for 10 o'clock this morning at around 10:30 or 11:30 last night. Now, my complaint is not that we have to stay up late or we have to work hard, because we all asked for this job and we've all been doing it for a while. My complaint is that if it's open and transparent, then let's really make it open and transparent. And let's get the bills out in time for us to digest them. And I got calls this morning from constituents wanting to know what they said. So it's the process. We need to slow the process down and make sure we're doing it right.
Can I just say that we saw a bill in JCAP that's fixing a school funding bill that we passed just a few weeks ago because it was done in such a hasty manner. I don't know if you want to add to that, because to me that's, if the bills are out in public, even a few days longer, there's a chance to fix some of those things.
Sure. If I may, this is JJ. If the major formula change we made about the look back, which adds stability to our school districts, it was blatantly rushed through, and we see that now because the State Department of Education is coming through and saying we really need these changes made to that language. It's a bill we heard earlier this year. That just shows that politically we're rushing things through as opposed to vetting what's best for our schools. If I could I chime in on one
Please.
thing? So I was a school teacher from 2006 to 2016. I was there last time we received one-time federal monies. I saw what happened. We cut taxes. We had some rough years. Let's say from 2008 on. And then 2018 we changed course. We found revenue. We did good things. We're getting federal monies now again. One-time federal monies. I have real concerns for our school districts, our kids, our families in this state when we are doing political maneuvers like tax cuts. When I don't hear people calling for that. I hear people asking for more investment in education, which we're able to do a little bit, but we're also going to cut our legs out from under us. And people need to understand that it takes 75% of us to undo what 50% plus 1 can do to us here next week. So we've done this before. I was in the classroom before. It hurt before. My class sizes got bigger. My friends left the profession. I just want to bring up that we've been here before, and I'm afraid that the people in this building, I mean, and weren't here a lot of the time, just because of the way our system's designed now. But it's also, it's really scary to me looking forward, because we could see ourselves in the same bind we were in 2010, 2011, 2012, when that federal money ran out. And it was the years of cuts. My first 2 and 3 years here was how do we avoid cuts, or who's getting cut? We're not there right now. I don't understand why would we want to entertain the idea of going back there.
Senator Dossett, your story right there.
Boom.
No, seriously, that's your story right there.
I was also wondering about the 1017 trigger in the budget, and decreasing class sizes. With the teacher shortage, I mean, is there enough teachers to have smaller class sizes? I mean, I know everybody says that smaller class sizes are good for the most part.
That's a major concern. So yes, everyone wants 1017 class sizes, but how are we actually getting there, or are we just talking about putting funding in to put us in a situation? We don't have the teachers to fill those classrooms right now. I would go ahead and say pretty comfortably. This is still moving. I'm still hearing what's going on. We heard about this yesterday for the first time. I'm hearing numbers that don't seem to be true, that we're putting $200 million in the formula, which would really address class size issues. I think that number is significantly lower because it's dedicated to other things. When we start saying we're putting $200 million in education, we need to talk about where that is. Is that money that's going to be in an opportunity tax credit, or is that money that's going to be in textbooks, which I like the textbook numbers I've heard. We need a new investment in textbooks. Is it earmarked things for this, that, and the other? Or is it formula investment, which would actually lower class sizes? Rushing to get to a 1017 trigger could put a school in a bind because you can't find a teacher. So you have to have class sizes a certain size, but you can't find a teacher. So then we're down the path of emergency certified teachers, or watering down the individuals we're putting in the classroom in front of these kids. So it's rushed. A lot of the things you've heard from us today is we're rushing. And why is that, other than it's political. We all understand how that works in this building. But I think we need if we were actually able to break these numbers down over the last month, as opposed to everything going on behind closed doors, I think we could have found the answers to this. Or at least found the problems and said, well, we can't go forward with this. Instead, we hear something yesterday, we're like, we're going forward now, and it's not, the outcomes aren't going to be best for Oklahomans. our schools and our kids.
We gotta be real about the tax cuts too, because the corporate tax cuts are higher than the individual tax cuts. So we know that a lot of the corporate money goes out of state to out of state shareholders. So the individual tax cuts will be a lot lower. And I mean, we're not talking about individuals getting a lot of money. If you make $40,000, it might be $100 that you're saving. But then that impact at the state level in terms of services and what we're able to provide is night and day. Why are the corporate taxes being cut more? And why would you do something that's going to have a tiny effect on someone's individual finances, but a huge negative effect on the state?